Facebook family, as promised, we are talking about the 5 steps to writing a great press release. So we're going to halt for just a second. We're going to let some people pop in, pop on, just pop, do whatever popping you need to do. My name is Nikki Woods, and I am all about helping people walk in their greatness. So whatever that takes, but my real specialty, I guess, is helping people get the visibility they need to sustain that greatness once they've decided to walk in it. And a lot of that has to do with traditional media. So that's what I'm talking about today. 2 weeks ago, I talked a little bit about, getting more media and reaching out. And I shared a press release template for people who, needed a press release template. And I'm going to share that again with you today. But I got so many inboxes while I was on vacation about actually how you write the press release that I've decided to kind of do a mini breakdown on what goes into a press release and how to make it so irresistible that the press can't say no. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the press release, right? And I got five easy steps. It's not gonna be difficult at all. You're gonna get this and you're gonna rock it. So the first thing and the most important thing I think about writing a great press release is to make sure you have an irresistible headline, right? So, or a subject line, depending on how it's being communicated. But if you're sending an email and the press release, you want to make sure that your subject line is irresistible. And then you want to make sure that the headline of the press release is irresistible. And so when I work with clients or I'm writing a press release, I tell them, or I think of magazine titles. And the headlines that you see on the covers of a magazine. They're juicy, they're interesting, they're exciting, and they make you want to open and read more about whatever the article is about. So think about that when you're writing your press release. Now, obviously, if you're talking about some kind of a benefit or a fundraiser and it's more of a serious topic, you want to be respectful, but make it juicy, make it important, make it matter. Right? So that is the first thing. Oh, make sure that you're using like action verbs. Make sure that you're using clear and concise language. And I'm going to say that throughout this little talk we're going to have. Clear, concise language. It is important that you make sure that you're communicating swiftly. This is not a time to write a novel. Press releases are generally 1 page. And actually, it's not generally. It's really the exception to the rule if it's longer, and it shouldn't be. It should be 1 page. So you have to be very concise in communicating the information. But the headline is most important. Reporters get dozens, if not hundreds, of press releases on a daily basis. There were days when I was producing the Tom Joyner Morning Show that I could get up to 500 pitches. So you want to make sure that your pitch, your headline, it's so irresistible that out of 500, you're going to be the first one that I go to. All right. So it's worth, and spend some time here. Because it really is worth the time and the effort. Number 2, don't play hard to get. We call this, reporters call it burying the lead, where the information is so far down in a story that you have to dig to figure it out. We shouldn't have to do that. You want to make sure that your information is clear, that it's concise, and that it's up front. Don't bury the lead. Tell them why we should care right away. Why should our audience care? Why should we want to report on this story? Why should we expose this to our listeners? Why should our viewers get this information? You want to tell people right up front why this is important. All right? Don't play hard to get. Be easy with this. Be easy, right? The third thing is you want to make sure that you're offering a tempting quotable. So this is where if you have a really good statistic that supports what you're doing, or you have a really good comment from a customer that brings home why this is so important. If an executive in your company has a great, quote that you can use it here. Quoting key people is an important part of this, and it really kind of brings credibility to what you're doing. A statistic that supports, why this is important is really good to emphasize, and it really goes, to the core of what you're trying to do. So we're not saying quote 25 people. We're not saying put 25 statistics. Pick the most important, the most impactful, the most impressive, and use that one. Okay, so that's your third thing. Make sure you have a quotable. And, usually it's about 5 paragraphs of press release. I like to get it done in 4, but you can be 5, but these are really short, concise paragraphs, so keep that in mind. In the last paragraph, you want to include details, vital details and information that we need to kind of share the story or spread the word. I know that people, you know, when it's your baby, when it's your book, when it's your song, when it's your company, when it's your event, you want to include everything. Don't do that. Like I said, clear and concise really are, you know, those are the words we're going with today. Clear and concise. Because if you bury it in too much information, once again, we're going back to burying the lead, but you're going to wear the reporter out. And when you have a producer like me or a reporter that has to go through tons of these things, you don't want to bury this. You don't want to make it so hard for us to get it. And, you know, this is the fifth rule that I have. Make the who and make the what obvious. Just give it to us. You know, there are so many reporters that complain about, you know, press releases and pitches because they can't figure out, like, you know, who the person is, what's important, what the company does, what the benefit of the event is going to be. Don't make it difficult for us. Just give it to us up front. And if you have questions, ask a friend or a colleague to read through it. Press releases are a really beneficial thing, but they can be a little bit tricky. And so have somebody that may not be as familiar with the event or may not be as familiar with the book or a program or a product that you're launching, have them read it and have them give you feedback. I mean, the key to keeping your PR strategy kind of new school is like kind of forgetting what old school PR is. If you don't know what it is, even better. We're in like that Twitter, fast-paced social media world. But you do have to be able to articulate, you know, what it is you want the reporters to talk about. And you do need to be able to articulate it in a clear and concise manner. So I'm just going to go through them again really quickly. Number one is to make sure your headline is irresistible. And I would test that out too. I would come up with maybe 3 and check with folks like which ones would, you know, prompt you to open up an email. Don't play hard to get. Tell us right up front why our listeners should care. I always tell people when I'm booking them for an interview, it really is not the media's job to sell your book or promote your song or get people to your conference. That's not our job. Our job is to provide valuable information to our listener, our reader, our viewer. So we don't really care that you have a book. We care about what that book will mean to our viewer or our listener or our reader. So if your book is going to change or give me the tools I need to become financially free, then I am all there because I know my listeners are going to care about that. But it is not my job to sell your book. And I talked a little bit about that in the last Periscope. You want to make sure that you're being relevant, and this is where you do that. You want to tell us why up front we should care. Make sure you have a tempting quotable, so that could be a statistic, that could be a quote from somebody in the company, that could be a quote from a past customer or person that you've helped through whatever it is that you're trying to do, like a conference goer, that sort of thing. That is always great. Number 4 is you want to make sure that you're providing that valuable background information. We call them the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why. Make sure that all of that is covered in the last paragraph. And then make the who and the what obvious. Describe your company, clear English, talk about your book, include a link, make sure that you're honest about, you know, what you can do and what you can't do. And if you have questions about this press release, send it to somebody and have them review it. So I actually have a press release sample that you can look at, and I have a more thorough breakdown of what goes into the press release and how to compose it and what it should look like and that sort of thing. If you would like that, you can go to the website blessmenikki.com. That's kind of where I store all my free stuff, but that's what's up there now. It is a press release. You can get that. You can get the breakdown. Tomorrow, even though it's my birthday, I'm going to show up and I'm going to talk about how to get the press release out. So now that you've written the press release, I'm going to talk about how you can get that to the producers, to the reporters, to the people who can publicize the information that is in the press release. And I will also answer questions about said press release. So you want to make sure you get the press release today. You want to take a look at it. You want to review it. Then if you have any questions, you can ask me that tomorrow on my birthday. I'm going to keep saying that because I want everybody to know it's my birthday tomorrow. But I want to show up for you definitely. So that is it. blessmenikki.com. That is the website. You can go get the press release. You can go get the information. And like I said, I will be back here tomorrow and I will be talking about ways to get your press release out. And I'll also be answering questions about the dreaded, thank you, Dion, I appreciate you, about the dreaded press release. All right. So I appreciate you. blessmenikki.com is the website, and I will see you back here tomorrow.